Mr. Speaker, we're backing British workers. They vote against them at every turn.
Adam Dance.
Not everyone might agree with you on that, Sir Keir, but that's for a little later. But was vile Nigel Farage's immigration plan really beautifully exposed here? Well, during PMQs, the cult leader for the easily influenced Nigel Farage was given the opportunity to ask this question.
We at Reform, a party that is alive and kicking, very much enjoyed your speech on Monday. You seem to be learning a very great deal from us. But can I encourage you, please, to go further as a matter of national security? As a matter of national security. Over the weekend, an illegal immigrant from Iran, who we believe came by boat, was arrested in the north of England on serious charges of terrorism. Since the speech on Monday, 1,000 young, undocumented young males have crossed the English Channel. Does the Prime Minister agree? Now is the time to declare the situation in the English Channel as a national security emergency.
It wasn't my speech, it was the Prime Minister's plan.
Mr. Speaker, the situation is serious. The last government lost control of the borders. We are taking powers. The Borders Bill, precisely to his point, the Borders Bill is the first bill to give terrorism-like powers to law enforcement, precisely so that we can get in before the crimes are committed, before people get to this country. That's why this is the most far-reaching provision ever for law enforcement to defend and secure our borders. And that's why it is extraordinary that he, of all people, voted against it. And sooner or later he's going to have exposure.
Yes, very true. The dear cult leader did vote against the Borders Bill the day before. Not that it really mattered with it voted through anyway, but clearly Farage PLC, they must have a better plan. They must have been working on something stupendous because, let's be honest, that's all they ever talk about, don't they?
Clearly, it's one of Reform's key
How would you do it? How would you stop people getting into the boats?
So we will, any illegal immigrants that come to this country will be detained and deported back to where they come from.
I'm not asking about before that. How would you stop them getting into the boats in the first place?
We have a border force that could currently turn those boats around. We have a deal with France. It's not working. We're paying money to France for what? The boats are still coming through. So
the border force
it's about a will.
Would what? Do what?
It's about a will of the government in power. The Conservatives didn't have the will to turn the boats around. The Labour Party does not have the will to turn the boats around. We've seen immigration grow even faster in the last 10 months under this Labour government.
But basically what you're saying to me is you wouldn't be able to stop people getting in the boats.
Reform are the only party that will try and turn those boats around by instructing Border Force to do precisely that, which is currently...
And taking them back to France?
Yes.
There's no bilateral agreement with France for this. There's nothing in it for them.
Oh, so Refuck will try to stop the boats then. It's like Boris Johnson all over again, isn't it? You know, I remember when people pointed out the utter bollocks he spouted. You know, the dear cult fans would say, leave him alone, he's doing his best. So, but I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, leave poor faceache alone, DB. She's only been there a week. So what we will do is we will head to the head of the snake again. He must surely know what the plan is.
Will you put a cap on the number of people who can come in under your essential skills exemption, particularly in healthcare, for people who come in the country?
By the time of the next election, we will. I can't tell you the numbers right now. I don't have all the figures. But what I can tell you is anyone that comes in will not be allowed to stay long term. That's the difference.
So you are committing to a cap on the numbers of people...
You ask me in 4 years' time, all right? Ask me in 4 years' time. You can play whatever silly games you want right now. The fact is, there is nothing that has been said today that I think is genuinely going to be followed through with vigour and lead to levels of immigration going back to historic levels.
Wow, what a snowflake, yeah. What a shrinking violet. He's asked a legitimate, simple question, and he falls apart like a cheap suit and ran away like the big girl's blouse that he is. But we know who certainly isn't a snowflake, certainly isn't a shrinking violet, or a big girl's blouse either. Yes, Ann Widdecombe. She'll certainly know what the plan is, won't she?
You mentioned a cap there, and obviously that's something that Reform and the Conservatives are both talking about. What would your cap be? What's the most appropriate number?
Well, that is something which you're going to have to wait for us to announce, I'm afraid, because we've got solid experience in this country of governments coming up with figures. The Conservatives at one point were saying, we're going to keep it to 100,000. And that was at a time when they weren't even limiting visas for families and dependents and all the rest of it. I'm not going to go for a precise figure. What I am going to say very clearly is we will ban, if you like, all non-essential immigration, and we will expect to see our own workforce skilled over time, specified time, for essential immigration.
But you can't give me a number for the cap, and you can't give me a time period for the phasing in element.
As I am not in government, the answer to that is no.
Yes, I know. We all could relate to Stig Abell there, having to listen to the lunacy of Ann Widdecombe. We all could tell what was going through his mind, can't we? So if the massive transphobe Ann Widdecombe says there's no plan, who will get off the fence and come up with one?
If I had the powers, I could arrest 20 illegal workers in Boston, in my constituency, every single day. I mean, this crisis is off the charts. And the issue of immigration is of critical concern to the majority of the British people. It's not just people who vote Reform. It's the number one issue because it's out of control, both illegal and legal, and it's impacting on everybody's lives. It's suppressing wages. It's leading to huge illegality. If I ordered 50 fast food deliveries here in central London, I would think about 20 to 25 of them every single day would be carried out by illegal workers. The situation.
So what would you do about that? What would you do about that?
I would detain them and deport them without hesitation. You cannot be here illegally and expect to work and expect to get away with it.
But that's what this is all about. I mean, the Home Office is saying they have ramped.
That should be a cross-party consensus.
It is a cross-party consensus.
Natasha?
That's exactly what the government is doing. This is an increase of 48% year on year of people being deported who shouldn't be working here. And I don't think that, the thing that's suppressing wages is immigration necessarily. What that is not putting up our national minimum wage, which something is your party didn't support. I think what we're looking at here is a reappropriation of that £700 million worth of money that was going to Rwanda actually going to clearing the system. We have an immigration system that wasn't working because we were spending money on a headline-grabbing thing that was never going to work, and instead we're just doing the graft. 16,000 people been deported that shouldn't have been here. We're going into businesses that shouldn't be employing people and sorting that out. And a lot of the things in the Conservative sort of new plan are things that already exist. You can already lose your citizenship. And they should know that because that's legislation that's been in place since 2002, but they've just refused to implement it. So our best deterrence is having an immigration system that works, so that if you're here, you should be here.
So the plan is to do what the government is doing at the moment. But didn't they vote against the Immigration and Borders Bill on Tuesday? I'm confused. Why is REFUC voting against something that's doing what they want to do? But I know all you REFUC cultists are saying, it's not just about hating brown people and being racist, DB. Farage PLC are on our side. They're looking after our best interests. Our Nigel is one of us, you know. He'll look after his base. Don't you worry about that, DB. He'll look after the working class.
Every week I meet families in Barking Dagenham who tell me that they worry about paying for their bills because they are on a 0-hour contract. My constituents want the chance to work hard in a secure job, earn a decent wage and to have dignity in their workplace. As Labour plans for change delivers the biggest uplift in workers' rights in a generation, does the Prime Minister agree with me that Reform MPs working and voting against our employment rights bill show that they are no friend of workers in this country?
I think she's absolutely right. Let's be clear what the parties opposite voted against. Stronger statutory sick pay, they voted against. The right to guaranteed hours, they voted against. Protection from unfair dismissal, they voted against. Stronger protection for pregnant mothers, they voted against. Insecure work, a package worth £600 to the poorest workers, they voted against. Mr. Speaker, we're backing British workers. They vote against them at every turn.
Adam Dance.
Yes, cultists, these are your heroes. These are the ones fighting for your best interests. Stronger statutory sick pay, zero fucks to give. Look at their faces. Banning of 0-hour contracts. Well, that will cut into unscrupulous bosses' profits, you know. That's completely unfair on them. What about unfair dismissals? Well, Ebenezer Scrooge, he didn't get to where he was by looking after his staff, you know. Disgraceful. Stronger protections for pregnant women. Can't she just have had the sprog on the works toilet floor and then just finish her shift and then take her home when she's finished? So all you cultists, do you feel conned yet? No plan to deport every brown person, every person who speaks slightly foreign, anyone who looks slightly different to you. Oh, but at least they'll look after your best interests at heart there. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. And if you want to watch a video where Kemi Kazi Bad Enough drops a massive gaff, maybe watch this video here.